Today's episode is sponsored by Globally Paid. Globally Paid is a service that integrates payment acceptance into any software to help businesses scale faster and without friction. Globally Paid handles credit card processing, fraud protection, payouts, dispute alerts, and chargeback management. And Globally Paid is all about great relationships, global payments, custom tech. Everything begins and flows with compliance. For more information, visit globallypaid.com. Hello, I'm Tony, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today I have Carlos with us. I'm super excited to get him on here. He's so busy, as you can see. For those of you listening, I just want to paint the picture for you. He was driving. I said, you got to pull over. We got to see you. So he's pulled over safely. He's on video. He's in his car. He was running some errands, and he's a busy guy. He's a great leader. So I'm super to have him on this show. Carlos, take a second to say hello to everyone.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Just happy to be here. Thanks, Tony, for taking the time, and excited to kick off the conversation and see where it goes.
Well, welcome to the show. So, as you know, in the top 10 with Tony, I have a 10 rapid fire question that I go into because, as leaders, we're in the results economy. We have to go out there, create paychecks, create, growth, pay bills, right? So we're not in the time economy. But time is important. So I want to be sensitive to your time. And that's why I have this rapid fire approach and just getting right down to the top 10 with Tony. And we'll just kick it off with question number one. So I'd like to ask you right now, Carlos, what is the one word you could use to describe how you're feeling right now?
Grateful.
Beautiful. Let's talk about your business. So tell us about your business, who you are. Let's talk about where you started, where you are today, and where you're going. So we have a really good context and good overview of what you're all about with your business. So please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So Feast and Fettle is the company, the name of the company. I'm the CEO. We have a very interesting background, such that I'm not actually the original founder of the business. The original founder is a very close friend of mine named Maggie. Maggie was a personal chef here in Rhode Island. Served a very, I'd say, affluent or high-end clientele as a personal chef. And long story short, everybody loved her food. So she was just like, what do I do? How do I serve as many families that are demanding, my food right now? So very interestingly enough, she hired her best friend, Nikki. She sold her car. She bought Feast and Fettle's first delivery van. And they actually rented out some space in a little incubator kitchen here in Rhode Island called Hope in Maine. Now, it was like a 2-year period where they were kind of just doing R&D. Again, they're very close with me. Like, they're very close friends of mine. They're actually the wives of 2 of my childhood best friends. And meanwhile, I was over in the UK. I kind of did the whole investment banker thing. So I spent some time at Goldman Sachs. I left Goldman and by pure coincidence, joined a company called Deliveroo. For the folks in the US who don't know Deliveroo, it's a very big meal delivery company out in Europe and Asia. It's kind of like the Uber Eats over in Europe and Asia. And I got, knee deep in meal delivery, all the different models, what worked, what didn't. And, I'd spent a lot of time at Deliveroo, and, I love my time there, but I always had that burning sensation to say, like, I could go do this myself. And I kind of wanted to do things a little bit differently. Coincidentally, Maggie called me about a month before I was moving back to the United States. And she said, hey, I have this meal delivery service. It's kind of taking off, but I want to focus on the product, and I'm not a business person, and I would love for you to, team up with me and let's see where we can take this. A little skeptical at first, but I came back, I tried the food, and immediately realized there was something special and unique about the product. And I'm a massive foodie. Everybody says they're a foodie. Trust me, like I'm a foodie. I'm like a food snob.
That's
um,
awesome.
and I tried the food and I was like, I've never had meal delivery like this, and I understand why people are paying what they're paying for this. So we decided to partner up, and kind of that was in 2018, and at the time we only had about 35, 40 members, and we've since grown the business to now we have about almost 1,100 members in the service. We've expanded into two states, kind of humming along right now. And yeah, it's for me, it's been awesome. Being your own boss, but more importantly, kind of, you know, driving your own future. And the key thing is just you have to enjoy every day. You have to enjoy the journey. It's a roller coaster. You have to like that. If you don't like that, it's just the entrepreneurialism is definitely, it's a unique and a unique feeling. It's almost like adrenaline junkies go after that adrenaline rush. I would equate it to that. Like you have to like crazy. um yeah, so that's how we kind of got started.
That is really great. Sounds like you got an exciting path that you're creating and a big future you're creating with that. So let's talk about recent wins. So when we talk about W's, share with our audience a recent. I know you have one. I'm not going to give it away, but I'll let you speak to it. You had a
Yeah.
pretty nice one, and I would love to hear what that is. Share with the audience what that is and what you learned from this recent win. That's quite remarkable for a company like yours.
Yeah, and I want to preface this win with giving a little bit of context. When I was at Deliveroo, um, fundraising was the name of the game, and myself coming from Goldman, I worked very closely with the CEO, and that's what we did. We fundraised, and we fundraised a lot of money, half a billion in the round that I helped the CEO raise. And um, I kind of wanted to take a different approach with Feast and Fettle. I wanted to hit profitability first, and then I wanted to prove out that there was a model that worked, and then I wanted to scale this up. So that's what we did for the first couple of years, and we didn't really raise a bunch of money. And recently, when we knew, okay, it's time to scale, we have something clicking, let's go. By pure one of these weird coincidences, I won't get into all the details because there's like so many different connections. But long story short, I got into a meeting with a gentleman named Paul Salem. Um, he is one of the founders at Providence Equity Partners, here based in Rhode Island. Pretty massive global private equity company. He's currently on the board of, not on the board, he's the chairman of the board at MGM. I met him, and we just clicked very quickly. And it's kind of one of those meetings where I was like, all right, well, I know I'm going to have some type of relationship with this individual. Where what is that going to equate to? And we got into talking about Feast and Fettle. Again, we clicked very well, and a few months later, we closed on a $1.2 million, I say seed/Series A. And yeah, we're super excited. I mean, it's much better to raise money when you don't have to, um, because it's just a much better feeling. It's just not, I know we're in this, I would say this 10 to 15 year period where fundraising is glorified, um, and not to say that it's a bad thing, but you just need to be sure when you're raising money that you're raising for the right reasons. You put that money to good work, and you're not necessarily racing against time without a very specific plan. I mean, a lot of you'll see a lot of people like raising 100 million here, 10, 20, 50 million here, and they're not profitable yet. So it's kind of like it is a strategy, but most of those companies don't end up successful. And I was looking for a more solid approach to fundraising, and we found the right partner. He loves Rhode Island. He loves what we're doing here, and he has just as big of a vision of the company as we do. So it's a nice win. It's comfortable to finally get paid again. So
Wow.
it's nice.
Really great. Let's talk about recent failures. So what have you experienced recently that you would consider a failure, big or small? But if it's, I just want a recent one, and also at a high level and quickly, just tell us what it was and what you learned from it, so our audience could have that value to take as well.
It's interesting because we fail a lot, in the sense where we'll try new product ideas, we'll spin off new products, and if they don't work, they don't work, and we're not going to cry over spilled milk. We just kind of keep it moving. Um, we just tried a recent product over the summer, and we kind of went back to our roots, and we actually went a bit more premium and launched what we called like a select. It was called Select, and Maggie was actually back in the kitchen cooking food, but like very, very high end. You know, I think it was like 5 course meals, and I think that there was demand for it, and it was great. But the failure was that like we can't scale this. There's only one Maggie. So although it worked on paper, it was like we only could get it to work, so much. And we've had another, we've tried to launch like picnic baskets for the beach, like little kind of spin-offs of products. And again, I think the key with failures is that you realize that they're failures and you just keep it moving, and you stick with the winners, and then the failures are failures. But that's how the only way to find the winners are to go through the failures. So a lot of people say like fail fast. I mean, it's true. You have to have that embedded in the culture and be comfortable, hey, we screwed that up. Okay, like we won't do it again. And keep it moving.
Well said. I had somebody on here, another great leader, a few episodes ago, and he was saying how failures are like learning how to walk. We all failed when we first learned how to walk, right, as a child, but we
Hmm.
didn't give up. We scraped our knees, fell down, whatever happened, unfortunately, but we eventually get back up and keep trying. And we look back like, walking is nothing, but he took it down to the simplest form, how in business context, like failure is very much like learning how to walk. You learn from it and you keep adding on. So let's move on to expenses. So tell our audience, what is your biggest business expense as of today?
It's actually food. We're fully vertically integrated. We do it's food and labor, but food's number one now that I think about it. They're very close, but yeah, since we're fully vertically integrated, we don't have any contractors. We're doing deliveries, we're doing the production, and then of course, because we are essentially fully prepared meal delivery service, food is just it's the big line item.
Great. And since, as you know, I'm in the payment space, I'm going to have to ask you this next question. So I've been in the payment space since 96. I've personally helped over 4,000 clients for better service and not being overcharged. So I always like asking this question of leaders as well. Where does payment processing fit in terms of your business expenses? How does that fit? Where is that on the chart for you?
It's probably well, it certainly is consistent as on a percentage basis. Probably like our sixth or seventh most expensive line item.
Great,
Sits in gross margin. So yeah,
great. Let's talk about your online tools that you like to use. So what do you typically use on a daily basis when it comes to online tools for
we
running your
use a
business?
lot. We
Yeah,
use a lot. Um, One of my favorites. I'm sort of a self-taught like digital marketer, learned from the ground up, YouTube videos and testing and trialing and like doing that for 3 years. And we've gotten recently, say in the past 9 months, we've really started to use AI tools when it came to developing audiences and fine tuning our Facebook marketing tactics and IG and how we look at digital marketing. And there's a tool out there that's not that well known. It's called Magix. It's Madgix. A weird spelling of Magix, but essentially what that allowed us to do is find the ads and audiences that are scalable, and
Hmm,
then the most efficient way to scale them up. So it sounds a little straightforward the way I'm describing it, but in terms of the power behind what they're doing is, for us, it's allowed us to scale the company at a rate we certainly wouldn't have been able to scale without it.
Carlos, I appreciate that because that's a cool little hack you just gave us. So
Yep.
on behalf of my audience, that's awesome. Thank you. Let's go on to your best resources for acquiring new high value clients. So what is that resource for you today that you're finding in this market that's happening? Things have changed. Nothing's the same anymore.
Hmm.
Um, so what is that number one resource right now that's helping you acquire new clients?
It's interesting. We're very like gritty. You know, we put in the hard work here because it pays off. So I think everyone would admit that referrals are the best way to get new customers. But the question is, how do you ignite a referral? How do you ensure that referrals are being fully optimized? So other than things like we've built our own custom referral system, you know, what we've done is we've really gotten to like Facebook groups and not, I don't want to use the word infiltrate, but it's almost like you kind of wait for that opportunity to comment when you see, you know, a busy mom, you know, write a comment like, I'm like in over my head, you know, COVID has actually, I thought I was going to have more time working from home. I have way less time. So there's no way I can cook. Don't send me like meal kits. I need something fully prepared delivered to my door. And then we'll chime in. So that, you know, you have to be very subtle as to how you do it, but because there's so many different Facebook groups, you know, we're constantly keeping our eyes on that, and we're constantly trying to find ways to not just chime in, but also like, you know, we're very giving company, and you know, we try to just be real with people. I mean, we had a Facebook ad running about our pre-launch in Boston, and a teacher from Boston Public Schools commented, said, "Hey, like this looks awesome, but you know, given what's happening right now, my time's been scaled back. I've gotten a pay cut." And we were just like, hey, you know, we'll give you your first few weeks for free. It's on us. And that's kind of the way we run the business. It's very localized. You know, we're humans, we care. And, you know, we understand that people go through hard times. And for them to see like a company act like a human is a good thing. Because sometimes, you know, you, especially with the bigger players, sometimes you lose the human, like the human behind it. And, you know, we try to bring that forward, and, you know, that's going to be the challenge as we scale, is ensuring that we continue to do that.
Absolutely. And you said it really well. You constantly have to humanize your brands and be real, you know, and you did a good
Mm-hmm.
thing by helping that teacher out. That's really awesome because teachers do a lot for us as
Absolutely.
as humans, right? So let's move on to an odd question.
Okay.
So when you're out there speaking, you know, like you said, the person that you met was Paul that you kicked it
Yeah.
off with. Yeah.
Yep.
So what would you wish, like, whenever there's like a Q&A section or when you're giving other interviews, is there that one question, Carlos, that you wish people would ask you in business context that they never do? And if that, what and whatever that is, think about that for a second. Share, a lot of people like, you know, they to ask the typical questions, but I want you to, you know, share with us what is that one question you wish they would ask you and no one asked you before. No one has asked you before.
I think that people never ask me, am I hungry? And if I was an investor, I would ask that to every single potential entrepreneur, because it's almost like if you are, you're going to answer that aggressively. Like you're hungry, like you're gonna come at that question. And if you're not, you're gonna bullshit it. And I feel like I have to sometimes get there via other questions versus like someone asking me that directly. Let's just cut to the chase. Like, do you like, am I cut out to run this business and go through the BS every day to make it $100 million business? Like, are you that person? Because that at the end of the day, like we have the best product, the best service, the best whatever, but the people that win are the people that essentially hold their breath the longest, and you know, can deal with the it's a very emotional thing. So it's can you deal with those emotions? Can you deal with the ups and downs? And do you have the leadership skills to bring a team, you know, along with you? And out of all the skills, I mean, that's the definition of an entrepreneur. So sometimes, you know, in pitches, it's always like, oh, like, you know, you can get into the nitty gritty details of anything, but you know, it's, you hear it all the time. You bet on the jockey, not the horse. And sometimes I just wish like some investors would kind of catch that a little bit earlier versus dancing around. Like, you know, if you don't believe in me right off the bat anyways, like let's not talk about retention and LTV and churn. Like let's not even go there because you don't trust in me. So let's go to the next meeting. So I wish investors a like entrepreneurs.
That is really moving. Now, tell our listeners how we could get a hold of you. So if they have any questions about this conversation, or if they want to find out more about, give out your website, of course. Let us know how they can get a hold of you if they have any questions about your business model, what you do, and all that good stuff. This is the time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty accessible. You could hit me up at carlos@feastandfettle.com. I'm on LinkedIn. Try to skim through all the spam there, but if hey, saw you on the Tony Shap show, like, of course I'm going to respond to you. But yeah, I'm always checking email. I'm always like on LinkedIn, always staying connected. So those two places are pretty much, the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Awesome. And spell out your website one more time in case they're listening to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Feast and Fettle. So it's FEASTANDFETTLE.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have in the show notes, but sometimes people are driving, or you know how that people, different listeners, different learners, all that good stuff. So
Absolutely.
Here we are at the end. Let's wrap it up with the one word close. Tell us how you're feeling right now with one word.
Energized.
Energized. I love it. Well, there you have it, folks. Carlos, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing with us about your story, what it took for you to get this business going, and the connections that you had, and also your background is remarkable as well. So it's not a coincidence that you're successful already, and you're even going to grow to 9 figures and 10 figures as time allows it, and systemizing this thing. So I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to see your future success, and I'd love to have you back here on the show to see what other recent W's you've gotten.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the time. Love doing podcasts, and look forward to reconnecting in the future, and hopefully I have some more failures to share.
Thanks, Carlos. Appreciate it. Take care.
Right. Take care, Tony.
Bye.
Bye.
And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and great to have you, and thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time, onwards and upwards.